Hi guys, welcome to the Premier Division show. Delighted to welcome Cian Menton and JP Fatty with me today. We just done the first division show, so Longford and Sligo. We'll start with JP. How do you see this one going? Interesting game. Obviously Sligo winning last week and Longford getting an excellent draw. So both teams will kind of be buoyant here in fairness. How do you see it?
Oh, definitely. Fantastic start this season for both teams. I think Sligo are kind of in the position that most probably would have expected after two games, but Longford have two excellent results, like a win at home to Derry and a draw from 2-0 down away to Bows. So they'll be buoyant going in this another home game against Sligo. It's only a couple hours down the road for between them, but Dara Doyle will see this. Longford will probably look at it and think that they've got 4 points that nobody expected them to get at this stage of the season. So they'll really not, they'll come into this game again as underdogs, which they'll probably approach most games this season. So they'll see that they've nothing to lose. They've had nothing to lose in the last two games and they've ended up getting 4 points out of it. But unfortunately, I don't see them getting anything out of this. I can only see a Sligo win. I watched their win against Waterford. They were impressive, I must say. Waterford did put them under pressure in the game, but they dealt with it very, very well. Gary Buckley, I think he started off as an attacking midfielder. He's now playing as a centre back, and he marshalled that back line superbly. I just see a Sligo winning this game. I don't think Longford will get any.
It's funny though, Cian. We actually talked before how Longford would struggle for goals. In fairness, they scored 4 goals in the last 2 games. Does Connor Davis have to start?
No, he doesn't. I think they have quality all over the pitch. So, whoever's going to be brought on after 60, 70 minutes, whatever it is still going to do the same job. I think they have a great squad like that. I don't think their bench is weaker than the starting 11. So, look, Connor will probably start after his 2 goals. But, it's a tough one now. If you asked me this before the start of the season, it'd be Sligo all day. But now I'm looking at it and I think, believe it or not, I know Sligo won and Longford didn't last week. But I think Longford's draw was probably bigger than Sligo's win, considering the way they came back and the way they played. So it feels like Longford are coming off the back of a big win here, the way they played, and probably could have won the game towards the end. So I'm going to say a draw. I can't see. Well, I'm not going to say that because they're going to bite me in the arse. I'm looking at it and saying, you can see Sligo's quality shining through in the game. But, if Longford go 1-0 up, it's going to be very hard to beat them. So I'm going to say a draw here because I think there'll be goals both sides.
What's impressed you the most, actually, about Longford so far?
Just look, it's a given now these days, but their attitude and their application, they never took the foot off the gas when they played Derry.
Their hunger and desire.
They cruised that game. They were in cruising mode. They didn't even get out of third gear. But they didn't take the foot off the gas. They were still playing. They were still playing fantastic football, and they were really comfortable. And it just shows you that if they're comfortable against Derry, they can be comfortable against anyone on that day. This is a big one for Longford now. Like I said, to get a gauge of where you're at in terms of the league, and where you can kind of position yourself in your head. But look, their season isn't going to be defined off points against Sligo. It's going to be defined off points against. I'm not going to say Finn Harps, but it's going to be points off the lower.
Whoever ends up being around them in the table near the bottom, basically.
Yeah, you're going to need to be picking up them points and winning. So I'm going to go for a draw.
Yeah.
But I just think Longford, they have something and they're building something, and another game I can't wait to watch.
Yeah, I think I'll go for a draw as well. I think Sligo midfield have been superb in the first 2 games, but I feel Longford won't give them an inch in that midfield with Dervin and with Bulger, who've just been magnificent in that sense in the opening 2 games. If Sligo get a run on them, of course they're capable of scoring, but I think they might make another draw here, Longford, and surprise a few. I suppose the big one in many ways is Shamrock Rovers and Dundalk. You know, Rovers only had 1 game. Feels like they've been waiting a month probably to play again. Dundalk, disappointing start and very fortunate probably to have a point after the 2 games. JP, is this a must not lose already for Dundalk?
Yeah, possibly. I think what probably saves them is that Bows and Shamrock Rovers haven't had a win yet, Tyler, albeit Shamrock Rovers have only played 1 game. So it's probably more must not lose for Dundalk than it is for Shamrock Rovers. As you say, Dundalk are probably lucky to have a point, really, aren't they? Because looking at the replay of the Sligo game, nobody can understand why that goal in the last minute was disallowed. I know the flag went up for offside, but there didn't look to be an offside anywhere. But look, it's not for us to criticise the officials. But
apart from Dundalk, that, fortunate, I think Sligo were kind of the better team throughout. So that kind of way as well.
Yeah. Dundalk, I seen bits and pieces of their game against Harps, and they didn't impress me. I know they were missing a few through internationals, but those guys have been away. Possibly their last game probably might not be played till tomorrow night. But by the time they get back, they might not be ready for this game. So they're possibly going to be without them for this game as well. I know they played a few weeks ago in Tala and won on penalties, but there was no real urgency in the game from either team. I think it was treated as a friendly. I think we'll see a lot more attacking in this game. And if it does become a lot more open, I can only see 1 winner. I'm going to say a draw for this because I think Rovers have had 2 weeks without a game. They struggled to a point against St. Pat's. They didn't really, although they dominated the ball against St. Pat's, they didn't really start playing until they went 1-0 down. But I can't see nobody winning this game. I'm going to go a draw.
I think, Keane, the interesting thing about Dundalk, I found, for example, in the game against Harps, which was a bit odd. They played the 2 fullbacks, Leahy and Dunnigan. Was Leahy, wasn't it? That played, wasn't it? Yeah, it was Leahy. But they played like wing backs, and it left the 2 centre backs very isolated. That's okay to a degree if you play 3 at the back, but they played 2 at the back. It just seemed a bit odd, didn't it? And Harps took advantage.
Yeah, look,
it's something they're going to have to address.
Yeah,
surely.
Yeah, look, you're playing Finn Harps, and fairness, I don't mean that to be disrespectful, but you expect your fullbacks to be up the other end of the pitch and not defending against Finn Harps, and I don't mean that to be disrespectful. So you can understand where they set up and how they set up. Personally, if Pat set up like that, I'd be more than happy because you'd expect you to have more of the ball. I know that wasn't the case, and obviously they lost the game, so they are going to have to look at it. But Chris Shields is doing that job, and it nearly turns into a 3 with Chris Shields there. But he was playing with, like I said, they're playing Finn Harps. You expect Dundalk to be up the other half of the pitch and pinging balls and holding onto the possession. It wasn't the case, so it's something that they're going to have to look at. But I can't see anything but a Rovers win here. Dundalk for me were shocking the first 2 games, and Rovers turned around for 2 minutes against Pats. 2 minutes is all Rovers really turned around for, and they scored. So that shows you what they have and shows you how quick they can turn and how quick they can change a game. And we've seen it last year in games. Look, I think JP, you'll be saying Derry were cruising in the game against Shamrock Rovers, and they grind out results as well.
2 goals in 3 minutes.
Yeah, they just win games, and that's a sign of a good champions. So they're gonna have to be digging deep this year against the likes of Finn Harps, for example, and stuff like that. But I can't see Dundalk winning this. They've been really disappointing for me. I wouldn't say it's a must not lose for Dundalk or anything. It's very early in the season. I still think they're going to be up there or thereabouts. And anyway, but I can't see anyone but Shamrock Rovers winning. I think their quality is just going to shine through. And you see, it's all well and good playing and having a game in hand if you win it. You know, like Dundalk have lost it now, so yeah, like you're saying to yourself, right, Shamrock Rovers now have a chance to get ahead of them now and, you know, push up in the table. So with a game in hand against, let's say, your so-called title rival. So, you know, it's an early head start. So if they can do it, but like it's the game of the weekend. I don't expect it to be as good as the last game last year. I don't expect Dundalk to be as competitive, but I'm gonna go for a Rovers win, and I'm saying as comfortable as it can be. So in and around it, 2-0, 2-1. But if I say 2-1, I mean Dundalk never in the game as such, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, same here. I think the same. I think Rovers will win this as well. I just can't see how Dundalk are going to change. They've a lot to improve on. Too much maybe in a week, I think. On to Dalymount Park and Bohemians take on St. Patrick's Athletic. Obviously, JP, Bohemians have had a dodgy start, 1 point from 2 games. Pats have 4 points from 2 games. But Bulls have an opportunity here to actually join Pats on 4 points if they win it. How do you see this one?
Yeah, if you look at the 2 fixtures Bohemians had, you'd have probably expected them. They have 6 points from them. They got 1, and they really should have had 3 from it. A 2-0 up against Longford. I know you're really expecting them to go on and win that game comfortable, and they didn't do that. It probably showed a wee bit of naiveness in them. I think Bows need to get a win in this game. Otherwise, questions will start to be asked about them, about whether they can do it for a 3rd year in a row. I think what we saw at Pats in the first 2 games was a Pats that we haven't seen for a few years, and that's maybe not a ruthlessness in terms of goals, but we've seen a ruthlessness in terms of hanging in there, not conceding at the wrong time. If you think, like, they conceded against Drogheda, but in years gone by, that would have put them 1-0 down, and then they're up against it. But they managed to get themselves in front before conceding, and I just think we're going to see a different Pats team this year than what we have seen. And I think Bows will be really disappointed with the start they've made. They have to be, especially given the 2 fixtures they've had. I'm going to say a draw for this one.
Cian, it's interesting because I've actually seen a few murmurs already about some Bulls fans. I can say no. Have you seen this question, Keith Long, whether he's the right man for the job? And I don't know. I'll pass it on to you.
Absolutely ridiculous. Like anyone that questions, anyone that questions that man needs to get their head examined. And I'm being honest, like I really mean that. Keith Long, 2 games into the season, people need to just chill out. Like, you know, like I can't get my head around it. I really can't. And I'm looking at it and I'm saying, like, this is shocking. Like, you know, last year he was a king. Give him the Ireland job. Whatever. Do you know what I mean? People need to relax.
It's tip for Dundalk.
It shows you how quickly things can change in this league and how a couple of results can go. Like, realistically, I'm disappointed that this game isn't like, you know, RTA didn't do some sort of double header. Like, they showed the 1/4-6 game live on telly, Pats and Bows. And then they showed the 1/8 game, Dundalk and Rovers. Like, to have that as an advert for the league would have been fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, I think the only time they ever done that was on a Saturday, on a Sunday, when they done the cup semi-finals, double headers. And what a fantastic day! Like, what a great whole day of football. And you know, I'm disappointed that, like, this is the type of stuff. Like, I know it's not a topic, but this is the type of stuff that gets the league noticed and gets, you know. So people need to look at themselves in the FAI and try and do stuff like this, because to have a double header, have these 4 teams playing each other, and to have one on telly when home and away be on before the Rovers game, you know, it's an opportunity missed out. Like, you know, I think we could have got the views up on it, and, you know, get the league noticed. Like, people would be saying, Jesus, Pats are doing all right, Bows aren't doing too well, or whatever it may be, and, you know, Jesus, I might buy this match next week, or I might do something. So I'll be disappointed that it's not on the telly or it's not somewhere, because this is a massive game here. And I think Bowes, it's huge for Bowes, and for the first time in a long time, it's not as big for Pats. You know, look, we be looking down there in recent seasons, look, you know, get out of here with a 1-0 or even a draw, we've done all right. Do you know what I mean? We've often got hockey there, look. So I fancy Pats to nick it. I really do. And it's not me hard talking in the slightest. I feel like Pats lack a goal scorer. And I think the thing was, Bowes had a goal scorer, and I don't know whether they still do. That's still out.
Yeah.
But, you know, Pats haven't had a goal scorer since Christy Fagan, and we're spreading the goals around the team. You look at Bowes and Denny Corcoran was there, Andre Rui, you know, they had goal scorers. Rovers, yeah, Andy Grant or Danny Grant, whatever it is. And then you're looking at, you know, Rovers had to have a goal scorer, and, you know, Pats are the only team that haven't, but I think Pats, like I said, have added serious quality. Like, watching Rowan and Coughlin up front on Saturday was a joy. What he done, like, he wasn't even near the ball at times, but my God, he had Massian on his pocket. He was brilliant, and, you know, his work rate against a depleted Bowes side, and a Bowes side that's, you know, like in this league, you go 2 games without a win, you can't see yourself winning a game, and that's the way it is, and that's the mindset you're in. Now, Keith Long won't feel sorry for themselves at the slightest. They're going to go out. I'm expecting a great game here. I really am. I'm expecting Bowes to really come at Pats and attack, but I think Pats have enough to, let's say, hold out. Bowes, I think, I'm hoping. Now, this is me hard talking. I'm hoping Georgie Kelly has one of his Pats days, let's say. But, you know, I think we can win this, and that's not me hard talking. Like I said, I just think the midfield. I fancy Brennan. Oh, sorry, Brennan. I fancy Benson. I fancy Forrester. You know, to really set a gun. And like, I was looking at Forrester there. He is like, he's coming back to somewhat the player that we know. So, you know, to have Forrester there, to have Benson there, Lennon. I just think Pats have a real balance about the team. Yeah, they're not going to Syrian. They're going to go and play. We're going to be hammering Talbot over, hopefully, win goals. Like, we're going to be getting shots off. You know, we're going to be playing some fantastic football. And I think Bowes are going to be the exact same. And I think this is the game now that V in goal really, really makes a name for himself, because I expect Bowes to come at Pats and I expect Pats to come at Bowes. In a way, I know I'm a Pats fan, but this is probably, if you're a neutral, this is the game you want to watch, because both sides are going to bring it. If you look at Shamrock Rovers and Dundalk, look, fantastic game, 2 big teams, but Dundalk are probably going to sit in a little, and it's probably going to be, Rovers doing all the attacking. This is a game that people need to see, and like I said, I'm just gutted that it's not on the telly as a double header. I really am, because it's the biggest opportunity missed of the season so far. Like.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. I think it's a tough one to call. I'm feeling Pats for once are going into this with a bit. No, I'm not saying it. I've been feeling they're going into this game with a bit more form than Bowes. Usually it's the other way around. So I think Pats might get at least a draw. I'll go for a draw, though, I think.
Pats won't go.
Yeah, I just have a feeling. JP, Derry and Waterford. I mean, it feels like 10 years since Derry played. How do you feel about this one? You've had a look at Waterford now, haven't you? And obviously, Declan Devine would have got a good look at Waterford as well. And you'd like to think the Derry players, after that performance against Longford now, that they'll be itching themselves to get on the field to play. It's a big game for Derry City, isn't it, this weekend?
Yeah, as far as I know, Devine was in Waterford on Friday night, having a look at them, and then I think he made the journey to Inchicore on Saturday as well. They watched that game as well, but I don't think Derry can be any worse than what they were against Longford. The less said about that performance, the better. From the first minute, it was just, from a Derry point of view, it wasn't good. I think the players will know that, the manager will know that, and they will have done everything over the last 2 weeks. They make sure that when they go out against Waterford, that they don't even think about that Longford game, that it's just about putting that behind us and moving on the rest of the season. And instead of thinking about a 36-game season, we think about a 35-game season and things like that. Waterford are the only team that I've seen their both games because they were live on Friday night, and because they were the first game involved in the new season, kind of took an interest in it. And from what I saw on Friday night, was a totally different team to the one I saw against Drogheda. I think against Drogheda, you could see that they were a new team put together, and the players didn't really know one another and things like that. And look, if they had got a point, you couldn't have denied them it. But I don't think you could have denied Drogheda their point either, or their win, because I thought Drogheda were the better team. Against Sligo, they were much improved, and they took a lead. They were beaten by two absolute worldies. And near the end, of the game, they caused Sligo not a lot of trouble, but they created problems for Sligo, and Sligo dealt with them well. As for Derry, I think they need to get a win early doors, because pressure's on after that performance. They'll see this as a good opportunity to get a win under their belt. But it won't be easy. If they're going to win, they're going to have to play well, because they've gone 2 weeks without a game. Waterford have had that game in between, so possibly they're going to be much fitter. My heart tells me Derry's going to win this game. My head tells me they're not going to win it.
You think they lose or draw?
I don't think. I want to say that we won't lose, but it's Derry we're talking about here. But I think we'll get at least a draw out of this, hoping that we maybe get a win.
Cian, JP doesn't sound very confident, obviously, as a neutral. How do you see this game? Do you think Declan Devine's tempted to make a lot of changes, or the opposite, perhaps?
Yeah, look, you can't. You need to give people a run of games. You need to give a team a certain amount of games, and if it's not working, then you change it. But, if he chops and changes every week, it's a recipe for disaster, because, you're losing. Now, man, I was dropping you had a bad game, and then all of a sudden the other player has a bad game, like, right, you're back in. It doesn't work. It's not like that, because that he dropped
an edge, doesn't it? A bad edge.
Yeah. Like, if he turned around now and just put out his same 11 again, I think it'd be, it'd probably be the best thing to do for the squad as such, because I don't think they've done Derry, or they don't think they've done the jersey any justice. So, they want to put that right. I would be looking at Waterford, and I'll be saying they're improving every week. If this was last year on the 18-game season, they'd be relegated. This is over 35 games left now. So I think we're in time. This team is going to get better. I don't know whether half of these players is going to go back in June or July. We don't know. But, I think they're going to get better in time. Every game we've seen that. And I fancy a draw here. I don't think Derry will win it, and I don't think Waterford will win it. So, I fancy a draw here, and I think it's probably going to bear out in a 0-0, or, a poor game for the neutrals as such.
I have a feeling I think. No, go on, JP. Yeah, go.
I think Cian's made a good point there about you can't keep chopping and changing, especially early in the season. But I think if he does go with the same 11, he's probably going to have to change the system a wee bit, because I think Cameron McJanet played kind of holding midfield role in the first half against Longford. And that's not his position. Him and Owen Toll were absolutely immense playing centre half last year. So I think if he's going to go with the same 11, maybe tweak the system a wee bit and move McJanet, and they play as a part of a back three with maybe Kieran Cole and Owen Toll, and have Darren Cole and Lafferty playing as wing backs. But I think that's a good point Cian's made. I expect to see a couple of changes in personnel. I can't see him going with the same 11, but I think it's a good point Keane's made that if he goes with the same 11, I feel that he has to probably change the system a wee bit.
That's a good point you made as well, because that's one thing I literally cannot stand is playing players out of position like musical chairs. And if you start doing that, you never get a rhythm into your team. You never get that chemistry. You're right. Like Janet's very good centre back, had a good partnership with Toll. Leave it. If they're fit, leave them there. Find someone else to go in the midfield.
He's under pressure. He's under pressure.
Is that the problem? Is that the problem in a way? Yeah.
Kieran Cole never put a foot wrong for Derry, in fairness. And I think bringing Lafferty in is, this was a marquee signing really more than anything. Lafferty is coming there, and Lafferty is playing week in, week out. But whether it be you play Kieran Cole further up the pitch on the left wing, or you play Lafferty there,
it becomes accommodating players again, doesn't it?
Yeah. So you need to be very careful, because I think Declan's in a tough position at the minute. So he needs to find out where he can fit Cole and Lafferty in the side, because I don't think it worked the other day. But at the same time, I think Derry are better with the two of them in the squad. So I think it's up to Decky now to have Lafferty playing further up the pitch, in my opinion, because Kieran Cole offers more defensively than going forward. We all know that. Like we've seen some crosses going in JP, but I think Lafferty will offer you more going forward. So you could have him as a left winger, and by all means he can't come back. But I think that's the best way of having the two of them in there, because like Derry frustrated the life out of me last year. The way they played in the middle, the midfield was all over the place. Conor McCormick, Clifford, the exact same players, the exact same type of players playing in the middle, sideways, backwards, poison. You need to get players. Derry is all about getting on the ball, exciting the fans, driving at them, being on teams 100%. And I think with Lafferty left wing, they'll have an awful lot more to offer going forward.
I agree. I'm going for Derry to win at 1-0, by the way. I think it'll be a dogfight. Parkhouse will get the winner. Drogheda and Harps at United Park on Saturday as well. How do you see this one going, JP?
Two teams have made an excellent start. I think Ollie Horgan will be in a similar position to Dara Doyle. He will have got 6 points. Well, Doyle's got 4 points he probably didn't expect. Horgan's probably got 6 points that he would have taken at the start, but probably wouldn't have expected to get. So he'll see this as a big opportunity now for his players. They show where they are at as a group. It's okay picking up wins against Bows and Dundalk without backing it up against teams like Drogheda. Now these are two teams that are expected to be in the bottom half of the table come the end of the season. But it's a huge opportunity for both these teams now to go and make a statement to the rest of the league that they're not here to make up the numbers, that they're here to really fight for those top half places. I don't think either of them will be next or near the European places come the end of the season. But I don't expect either of them to be battling this to keep their heads above the relegation zone either. I don't think Drogheda will be as open as what the other two teams have. I think they'll be very compact. They'll cause problems for Finn Harps, but Finn Harps will cause problems for them as well. I see this being a score draw, maybe 1-1, 2-2.
Cian, how do you see it?
2-0 Finn Harps.
Really?
I genuinely, I'm not joking. I feel like these are the games that Finn Harps are good at winning.
Yeah.
These are the toys that Finn Harps are used to winning. And, Ollie at the start of the season would be looking to would be happy with 1 or 2 points on the board already. He'd be happy with 1 point out of his first 2 games. And this is the game that he targeted at the start of the season to get 3 points out. I'm fancying Finn Harps to win this again, to continue their good run. I think it'd be 2-0, but it's not going to be an easy 2-0. It's going to be a counter-attacking game for both sides.
Yeah,
you know, I'm looking at Finn Harps, and I think defensively they're in a better position than Drogheda. So I'm looking at that, and I just fancy Finn Harps 2-0. Don't know what it is, but 2-0 Finn Harps.
Right, so I think it'll be a draw. I think you picked up on something good there that might make it exciting. People might think Finn Harps Drogheda won't be exciting, but I do think it'll be counter-attack versus counter-attack. That's going to make it very interesting. I think you're right with Finn Harps there. Yeah, I think at the back they're stronger, physically, just stronger as an organisation, but physically stronger as individual men as well. Drogheda will be looking to Mark Doyle again, I suppose, who did cause problems against Pats. But it's an interesting game. I'd go for a draw, but I'm erring on the side of I don't think Finn Harps will lose the game. Do you get me?
Yeah, similar to me.
Yeah. So we all went. You went for a draw. I went for a draw, and Keane went for a Finn Harps win. Isn't that right? We have it. Yeah. All right, we'll leave it there, guys. Thanks for coming on as usual. Guys, like the video, please subscribe and hit your bell notification button so you don't miss a video. And let us know in the comments your predictions. Thanks for watching as usual.